Good morning, traders. Welcome to StockCast. My name is Todd Derby, along with my co-host James Mason, where our goal every day is to bring you some insights and ideas into your daily trading activity. Had a little technical difficulty. I was traveling last night, and I'm in a hotel room. As you can see, is my fancy backdrop. So we apologize for the delay. Good morning, James. How are you doing?
Todd, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I appreciate you covering for me being late. You know what, guys, maybe y'all are right. Maybe I shouldn't abuse Todd so much on the show, but there wouldn't be a show if I didn't. So I will. So Predictive Oncology just pushed out a tweet. I understand it's hard to wait, but if you guys cannot see the writing on the wall, I don't know what to tell y'all. Yeah, so you know what? Actually, there's no sense in me reading it out to everybody because the people who care probably already know. Well, actually, that's not fair to say. The people who care will look at up the tweet. Yeah, so the writing's on the wall. That's all I can say. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's get into the show. All right, Todd, man, what about all the increases of COVID and all these countries talking about locking stuff down?
It's obviously it's COVID's not going anywhere, and it's been an issue on top priority for a couple of years now, but I can't explain it. I don't know the science or why why countries are doing what they're doing, but it's definitely a real issue that's affecting our society, our economies, and be curious. So what's going to happen this winter? I'm in Michigan, and we're the number one state for COVID cases right now. And I was talking to my wife about this last night and saying, I think that's because we have an aggressive testing program going on. So you can, we went to a concert to see a comedian, and you either had to be fully vaccinated with proof to get in, or you had to provide a testing within 72 hours. So a bunch of people probably got tested to go to that concert, and that's happening at all kinds of venues. And so there's a lot more testing going on. So I think there's a lot more highlight on the number of cases that are going on. So I don't know. That's just rambling thoughts there, but those are just, I think they're real thoughts that people have.
Yeah. As for like governments trying to shut down their economies, I can't agree with that. I think you know what? I mean, I'm just going to have to be real here. And I believe a lot of people will understand where I'm coming from. Sometimes you just have to sacrifice people. I mean, that's really the only way you have to say it. You can't cripple your nation just to save people's lives. That's the simple truth. Some of y'all gonna have to die.
And you say that, and people.
I know it's screwed up, but
but you say it and go, that's callous. But that's how wars are won. Like, not everyone survives. Someone gets to be the point man. Someone's the first guy off the chopper. Like, and when you really get realistic about it, it's a tough thought, but it's a real thought. And we live in a society of freedom, what we call freedom, because people have sacrificed their lives, and it happens with research, and it happens with in science also.
Yep. Yeah, that's just life. But yeah, let's see, there's a couple European nations. Australia is talking about shutting things down, and
I think Germany was the other one.
Yeah, and it's just like you said. I mean, it's not going away. So we either get to the point where we get an immunity to it, a herd immunity to it, or it just eradicates us. So that's just how this is going to have to work. Pull the Band-Aid off. Let's get past this.
I don't know what's happening in Austria, John. What's crazy about it? And John, you mentioned it earlier also. What is the synergy of COVID going on in Austria that they're shutting things down? Anybody know?
I don't know anything about Austria, but Australia. They're trying to come down hard on it.
Okay.
But, all right. Yeah. So Moderna. Let's see.
They got approved for that booster for all adults. And they took up did a 6% jump in their pre-market. It was in the StockCast newsletter this morning. Kieran, they're only locking down unvaccinated people? How is that possible? That's interesting.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, okay, so I mean, with the whole COVID shot, I mean, it's become so political. Okay, my situation. I can only really speak for myself. For me personally, with some of the things I've experienced in my life that has honestly destroyed, my health, especially with my lungs. I eventually got to the point to where I knew some people personally who literally were perfectly healthy, caught COVID, and then, some of them became paralyzed, others passed away. And all this happened like in a short period of time. So I weighed the risk for me, and I decided to eventually, get the shot. But with me saying that, I'm actually not a pro COVID vaccine person. I just felt like, okay, if I catch it, then chances are it's going to be pretty daggone bad. So if this vaccine could put some of the odds back in my favor if I would catch it, then okay. and if the vaccine would actually give me negative side effects and results, well, it is what it is. It's just a roll of the dice. But man, with how political it's gotten between, just everyday citizens and how they treat each other, whether they're pro-vaccine or not, and then the governments on top of it, really it's the governments that are just fanning the flames here. Especially when they're starting to talk about locking down economies and quarantining the unvaccinated people. You're essentially talking about wanting to put them into really a modern day concentration camp.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a little bit extreme, and that's not to degrade anything that anyone has ever went through in the past in a concentration camp, but you guys get what I'm saying. So I don't know. It's silly to have governments trying to shut this down. It's like they're going for a power grab. And we already know that. All right.
All right, let's talk about a couple stocks. We're about 9 minutes from the start of the market.
So there's really not much going on pre-market besides just COVID stuff. I've seen a couple other little petty tickers. And at the same time, when we're talking about the stock market and COVID, because it's still a relevant topic, I think a lot of these COVID-related pieces of news, a lot of it is starting to get pretty daggone baked in. And I mean, for instance, Moderna, making this push up. Like, had this been back during the pandemic, I mean, we know how they would have ran then. Right. But everything's getting baked in. And I think the market is nearing a point to where, at least for itself, it's kind of over COVID, even though the world economy is not. So, other than that, besides COVID news, Germany finally agreed on to legalize marijuana. So we should start getting a nice push in the cannabis industry.
The whole country?
Yes.
Very nice for the cannabis.
So other than that, I don't really see too much going on. Let's take a quick look at the comments.
Good morning. Good morning. Put your shirts on. Good morning. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Someone's mentioning APOP, asking about APOP.
Is there a reason for APOP?
No, they just mentioned is nearing APOP pre-split prices. Does that mean it's a failure or oversold? Knox is asking that.
Did APOP have a ticker symbol change?
I haven't looked at APOP in a long time.
It won't even come up on my chart.
All right. Actually, we talk about macro decisions. I think the new Fed chair is going to have a President Biden's supposed to announce a new Fed chair, and that's going to have probably an impact on the market. I'm not sure it'll be positive or negative because we don't know who it'll be yet. But that person's first speech or first announcement will probably have a more impact on the market than anything else.
Yeah. So there's been a few questions about ticker BNKD. And basically, this one, we're just waiting for the big banks to start breaking down. I'm actually, with this last, I honestly thought that with this last series of earnings that they would start showing a lot of the cracks. and start collapsing. But I guess I'm probably about a quarter off. So this one right here, this is all dependent on the big banks breaking down, or whenever the economy starts to break down. But it's destined to happen. I mean, look at this daily chart. We can see it's literally just trending sideways, has been for a long time. And this thing is starting to set up to want to rip up. And when this starts to rip up, that means the bank stocks, the big bank stocks, are ripping down. So once we see this thing break above this 86 EMA, we should start seeing a nice little push. We can look back here. This is pre-pandemic, and you can see where the pandemic started to set in and how it just started ripping the market down, and this went up. So this is really just a standby. And just wait for the world to burn.
That's it's a hedge. It's a hedge to your portfolio. A couple of people asked about POEI, and you've addressed it earlier in the show. I think we could probably just comment that nothing's changed in my world. I've had a couple of recent conversations. I know that there's a couple of big players who have added more to their portfolio this week with the dip. So for those that are nervous, hang in there, or if you have to cover it to free up some money, I understand. Do what you have to do. Take care of your portfolio yourself. We're not team trading, but I think we're sharing information to let people make good decisions. But again, as Jay mentioned earlier, we're just waiting for something to happen, and it's soon to happen, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So, Knox, thank you for the update on that ticker symbol change for APOP. The new ticker symbol is QNRX. And honestly, for me, this is a freaking buy. Now, when I say buy, this, I don't mean go all in, but I'm going to say this is a buy for me personally. And here's why. It's a technical setup. So first off, I do like the company. But let's look at this MACD here on the daily chart. We can see the large MACD candles, and then it kind of thins out, and then we kind of go into a smaller dip. But this is showing a setup for a potential reversal here. I don't know, in the days to come. But the deeper MACD candles, and look at the PPS value up here. So higher PPS value, longer red MACD candles. And then we have these lower MACD candles right here with a more significant price reduction right here in this PPS. And this is at least at this point, based off the chart, this is what you call a bullish MACD divergence. So remember, guys, longer MACD candles. Now, this is just for the bullish one. Longer MACD candles, higher PPS value. Smaller MACD candles, lower PPS value. This is a reversal setting up right here, at least at this moment, based off the charts. Now, when I say reversal, I ain't talking about this thing bouncing and ripping right back up here. I'm talking about this thing bouncing somewhere right here. And this is why you can't just go all in. You still need to scale in, because you could enter, say, right here at like 508, and this thing could dip to $4.30 and or lower. So that's why you scale in, because when the bounce happens, you should have a decent average to where when it does bounce up, you probably stand a good chance of collecting, I don't know, a few points on it. It's really hard to speculate. I say
you're less than a minute to the market.
All right. You could probably get a pretty quick spike up to around the mid 740 range, somewhere in there. But again, it's just going to be dependent on how you scale in to get the best results. So that is what I see for a ticker. QNRX, formerly known as APOP. So let's go ahead and wrap it up right there. I have to jump off here and take care of some things, and appreciate y'all tuning in today, and we will see y'all in the next one.
Have a good weekend, everyone.